Radical. Welcome to Flea Market Stories, documenting one man's journey into the world of flea marketing. I decided to go with this one instead of what I was initially going to go with, which was something PS4 oriented. But I feel like I might have went over that ground before. You all know that my best-selling games are on the PS4. Anything PS4. I sold most of what I sold this past weekend. Most, maybe even 60% of what I sold this past weekend. PS4 games. Now, you know I carry comic books, movies, music CDs, Xbox 360, PS3, PS2, Xbox One, and variety of Funko sometimes. I sell a lot of different stuff. But more than half of what I sold was PS4. But I'm not going to talk about that. What I'm going to talk about is part of being a seller, reseller, businessman at the flea market, whatever you call it. Part of the business is being able to turn down bad deals or meh deals. You got to know what to turn down, when to turn them down. And you got to know when to jump at deals. Now, off the top of my head, there's been two amazing deals I've had since I've been to flea market game-wise. One was a haul I got for $400 that was a gigantic box full of Xbox One, PS4 games. It was a lot of music CDs. It was a big box of Skylanders. It was a PS3 in the original box. It was a lot of stuff for $400. Some of that stuff I still have today a little bit. And he kept even throwing things in at the end to sweeten the deal. It was a massive deal. Sometimes you get massive deals like that and you have to jump on those deals because it means that somebody may be like getting out of the business, getting out of the game, no longer selling. I don't know what it was. Maybe he got a massive deal and he's making like $100 on it. I don't know. Some people just do not know what their media, what it is worth. They don't. Some of those games were sealed also. I jumped on that one. That was hell. It's been over a year now since that one. Seems like it's just yesterday. I jumped on that deal. And another deal I jumped on was, you remember I told you all about my green N64? I sold my green N64, but there was a lot of between $300 and $400. I can't remember. It might have been even $350. Could have been one of my best deals. Was I got a Super NES, works fine, a little bit faded. I got a original NES. The inside of it, the spring needs to be fixed. Might not be a difficult fix. Comes on, plays games that you got to push them down in the tray like pretty hard. 2 Dreamcast, one of which I already sold, and the other, I basically just gave it away to this person that works on them because I was never going to fix the laser in it. I kept all the wires though. 2 Dreamcast along with 3 original Dreamcast controllers, 1 VMU. Now some people might look at that, what I just talked about, a Super NES, a NES, 2 Dreamcast, 3 controllers, and they wouldn't probably pay $300 to $400 for that, especially with the Super NES being faded, but there's a lot of old wires, controllers that went to the systems, but also some different things in here I'm looking at. This is just, it was a massive haul. The N64 though, oh yeah. A lot of people would go for that for $300 or $400. If you're saying 2 Dreamcast, 1 just needing a laser, 3 controllers, a NES, a Super NES, and a green, almost immaculate N64 with the Elmo game, San Francisco Rush, Cruising USA, and Super Beetle Adventure Racing, then they might jump at that for $300 to $400. But on top of that, well, one of the Dreamcast were in the original box. There was a PlayStation 2 in great condition. Since, though, the laser crapped out on this PS2, but it worked good for a year. It's a shame, too. But you just got to expect that with these PS2s. They have garbage optical lasers. So, you're lucky to, these days, get a lot of use out of them. Maybe I'm just unlucky with that. Time Crisis. No, not Time Crisis. It was one of those shooter games. I can't see exactly which one it was. Ninja Assault. Ninja Assault in the original box with the Guncom controller. I think it was 2 controllers. I got an orange one and a gray one for PlayStation 2 controllers. And about nothing out of the way amazing, about 15 PS2 games. There's a Crazy Taxi, an NBA Jam, Gran Turismo 4. So a lot of those games I sold for $20 each. And I'm still not done telling you about this lot. $350, I think, to $400. It also added, he sold me 30 PS1 games for, I think, $50, but that was when I got there. He just found another box. A Wii with the DJ Hero, 2 different controllers. We play some stuff like that. Oh, I'm not even done, am I? A PlayStation 1 console with 4 memory cards, 3 sets of wires. Oh yeah, there was 3 Super NES games with that. One was football, one was tennis, something like that. And then about 9 to 10 Dreamcast games. Dreamcast games are getting harder to find. And a box of 20 NES games. All that for $350 to $400. I just can't remember exactly how much, but under $400 for all of that. Now, why am I going over a past deal that I made? I've told you about that past deal. Some of you remember. Because compare that, $300 to $400 for like multiple games, almost 100 games, 6, 7 consoles, 1 in the original box, a variety of stuff, man. To this deal, same person, right? Now, since that, I think he's smartened up a good bit. He knows about values now. And I respectfully declined this one, basically saying, which is not a complete lie, that things have slowed down at the flea market now. Things have slowed down. The economy is really bad this year. People aren't spending the same kind of money. I didn't tell him the honest truth, which was, dude, that's a terrible deal compared to like what you had for me before. Like, that's just, you won't believe this. Now I got excited because when I saw these pictures that he sent me on the phone like he did last time, I thought it was the beginning of a lot of pictures. I thought there would be Game Boy Advance systems. I thought there would be at least a PlayStation 1 system to go along with the 3 video games. But let's see exactly what he wrote here. He said, looking for $130 for all. Few Game Boys are worth over $20 each. He was wanting $130 for Tony Hawk Shred, Kinect Adventures, Kinect Joyride. That was the last picture. Basically worthless. The PS1 games, Final Fantasy VIII, Metal Gear Solid VR missions, which is a little bit uncommon. I would say definitely more uncommon than the Metal Gear Solid. Those look to be in okay conditions, but I didn't see the inside, don't know the disc condition. And the meat of this $130 offer to a guy that he gave a great deal to is just 11 Game Boy Advance games. 11 Game Boy Advance games, 3 PS1, and 3 Kinect garbage games. For $130? No way in hell, man. No way. Not for the meat of it being Game Boy Advance games. Because Final Fantasy VIII, it's a common game. Metal Gear Solid, common game. It's not like a Chrono Cross. It's not like a Parasite Eve. Because if you're going to play values, and he's going to say, well, some of the Game Boy games are worth over $20 each. Now, I'd have to see some Game Boy Advance games worth over $60, $70 each to even consider this. Because what happens is, I have a lot of game stuff. I'm fully stocked with a lot of different game stuff. So I have to be able to sell this right away and have a buyer right away. What are the Game Boy Advance games? I mean, I gotta admit, I'm looking here. There's a couple good ones in here. You got Mega Man Base. You got Spyro. Some about Ice, Season of Ice. Crash Purple. Yu-Gi-Oh! Double Pack. Justice League Chronicles. Cats. Sega Smash Pack. Tom and Jerry Infernal Escape. Yu Yu Hakusho Spirit Detective. Dragon Ball Z Taiketsu. And a Metroid that looks like it has a good lump of spooge on the seal here, on the label here. Hopefully it's not spooge. But yeah, these look to be in mostly decent condition. But some of the labels are kind of scratched, kind of jacked up and whatnot. Not doubting some of these are going for over 20, like the Yu Yu Hakusho, Dragon Ball Z, Sega Smash Pack, Mega Man. But let's be honest here. It's 11 Game Boy Advance games. We're not talking about Sega CD games or Sega Dreamcast or games that are for a very obscure system or heavens. GameCube games. Damn, if it were GameCube games, maybe. Hell, I might make $500-$600 off of it if it's 11 GameCube games. I don't know what the fuck's going on with GameCube games. You would think if you saw some of these prices online of GameCube games, no one ever had one. No one ever bought a GameCube. You know what I'm talking about, right? Have you seen the crazy prices on GameCube games? It's not a rare system. These are not rare games. But yeah, so there's no value. There's no reselling value here. You got to have reselling profit value. I have to be able to buy something. If I'm going to make an acquisition like this, a bulk acquisition, I have to be able to triple, quadruple, 5 times my money instantly to be successful. And that's usually across the board when I'm thinking about buying something, unless it's a special situation as a favor for a customer. I'm trying to 3, 4, 5 times my money. Now you might say, Rick, that's being a little bit greedy. I don't see it that way. Let me tell you how I don't see it that way. Because I have to pay the rent for the area. I have to stay there and I have to sell everything. I have to load up the car, take them back out every weekend. I have to organize everything. I have to make sure everything is clean, neat. I have to test, run my machine on the games. I have to get any stickers or spooge off of Metroid if I got Metroid. There's a lot that goes into video game reselling to do it the right way. And hell, I even stand by my items and I do warranties on things. So I would have to make 4 or 5 times my money to really make it even worth my while. Because I'm having to put the money up front to get the stuff. I'm having to stick my neck out to buy the stuff and wait for it to sell.